Om. Om. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Kruto Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Hari Om, everybody. We are on the portion of meditation, and we have seen that we have been asked to concentrate on that, make the mind single pointed on Brahman, and all the instructions have been given. We saw those. Anatma Chintanam Tyaktva, having given up the thoughts of the not self, and not self is body, mind, intellect as well. Okay, the world is one thing, but body, mind, intellect as well. And then understand that supreme reality, which is the Sakshi, which is the witness. As long as the body, mind, intellect is considered as with respect to the BMI, it is a witness. But otherwise, really, it is not a witness, because the BMI itself is an illusion. Okay. So thus continuously thinking about the self. As you think, so shall you become, is what is said. So if you continuously practice the thought that I am Brahman, then someday in the future, not in the near future, in the very distant future, at least we have some hope of reaching there. Okay. Continuous attention on the self we had started. Shane, shane, slowly withdraw the mind. Withdrawal of mind will become easy. The more purified it is, the more withdrawn it will be. Okay. And then the next one, Bhagavan is saying, body, mind, and intellect are false projections of one's avidya. This false projection is what now he's carrying forward. So he says, he gives the example of the pot, the pitcher, the barn, and the eye of the needle to explain that is the space different in any one of those, because in the pot, in the pitcher, in the barn, in the eye of the needle, there is space. But if you were to remove those upadhis, those limitations, then space is only one. And the idea is that this body is an upadhi. Everybody's body is an upadhi, and that upadhi, when it is removed, there is only one consciousness. And that's why he's explaining it further. We were on verse 387. That's where we begin. Brahmadistamba paryantam vrishamatra upadhayah tata purnam swamatmanam pashed ekatmana sthitam. Right from Brahma to the most insignificant unicellular organism, all conditionings are quite unreal. Brahma is Brahmaji. Brahma Loka is the highest Loka considered by our Shastras, and the ruler of that Brahma Loka is Brahmaji. And even his body, Bhagwan is saying, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is saying, is an illusion. So right from there to the minuscule insect, unicellular organism, even in Manisha Panchakam, this idea he has used. It is always said, Upanishad says that whatever that you see is an illusion. So if you see the unicellular organism, and yeah, you may not see it with your naked eyes, but you will definitely see it under a microscope, then it is not true. It is an illusion. Only the seer is real. The seen is always unreal. Okay, and Tata, that's why, Tata, therefore, or that is why, it is all, our attention is mostly on the unreal because it is perceived. We perceive it and then we think it is very, very real. We perceive the world, we can touch it, we can smell it, we can taste it. And that's why it appears very, very real. So that part has to be really understood, that whatever is perceived is changing, and it's inert and therefore not real. And therefore he says, one should realize oneself. Pashed ekatmana sthitam. Sthitam, the only real thing is the self. Only real thing is the self. Okay, this is what he's saying in 3.7. I'm going to go fast because all these ideas we have gone over. If there is any questions, then we can deal with them at the end of the thing. So, or if you have any questions, then raise your hand and I can explain. This is what Bhagwan is telling us. And then he goes on to say, Yatra bhrantya kalpitam tad viveke tattanmatram naiva tasmad vibhinnam bhranter nashe bhranti drishta hitatvam rajjustad vishwamatma swarupam. Where by mistake something is imagined to exist, there, on right discrimination, the real itself is recognized. See, he's put a hyphen between re and cognized, not recognized, but recognized. So it's following, there is a correct cognition. There is nothing other than it. With the error removed, the falsely perceived snake itself becomes the rope. So too, the entire universe is in truth only the Atman. So once again, we come back to our snake and rope example, without which Advaita philosophy doesn't stand. Without the principle of superimposition, not snake and rope, but the principle of superimposition. And superimposition, please understand, happens in our life. All of you must have experienced it. The other day I was walking in the mall, and not in the mall, but in the parking lot, and I saw something green and I thought, whoa, that's a $20 bill, folded $20 bill. So I went closer and I thought, don't touch that, because it is some green, some cardboard, something, I don't know, matchstick or whatever, and don't touch. That is superimposition. That happens to us. It is happening. So it is real. So it happens. See, if superimposition was not happening at all, then Bhagwan Shankaracharya could not have explained Advaita. So because he says it is happening, see, in your life, these things are happening. So you walk into a room, and once again, it's a dimly lit room and there is a rope in the corner. You think it to be snake. The two examples of superimposition that are given in Vedanta are the snake and rope and the silver and shell. And the reason these two examples are used is one is creating fear, which means sorrow. The other is creating happiness, joy. So we must not think that only the sorrow is a superimposition. Joy also is a superimposition. So even when we feel happy in the world, and that's why we think I'm very happy, I've had a very happy life, what's there, why should I do Vedanta? It is a false happiness. So that's why he said, just like when somebody walks in and they turn the light on, and then you recognize that snake as a rope, reascertain what you saw. First you thought it was a snake, and then you come to know it is a rope. Same way, yatra bhrantya kalpitam tad viveke. Bhrantya kalpitam, this world is imagined in delusion. Bhranti is delusion, kalpitam is imagined. You are imagining that the world is real. You are imagining, it's an imagination that this world is real. My happiness is in the world. Tattan matra naiva tasmad vibhinnam, means it is actually not, it is not different. It is not different from the substratum. So on discrimination, when you see the substratum, this world will disappear. So this is the vision of the realized master. As we go further, he's going to give us the characteristics of a realized master also. I mean, we have seen that in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, chapter 12, 14. But here he is also again going to explain what are the signs of a realized master. Those signs we must imitate. At this stage, it is only an imitation. But so what he's saying is, just like once you get the real, when you see the real thing, you recognize that same object. It's not like the snake converted itself into the rope. It is also not like the rope had become the snake to frighten you. Neither did the rope become the snake. And so later on, the snake did not change back into the rope. It was only the rope that always was. There was never any snake. Even when you were seeing the snake and you were getting frightened, there was no snake. That's why this world, even when you're seeing it, you're experiencing it, you're perceiving it, you are feeling happy about it, or you're feeling sorrowful about it, it is not there even now. Even now, you are that supreme self. This is what he's saying. This is a mistake, where by mistake something is imagined. This is Maya. This is a definition of Maya. Sama iti Maya. That which is not is Maya. What is the definition of Maya? That word breaks into Sama iti Maya, means that which is not. Ma is negative there. So because Ma also means measure, but here is negative. So that which is not is Maya. So that snake, it was not there. It never was, but then you saw it. So that is Maya. Same way. This world is imagined to be real. This is Maya. Now we'll see on Sunday, we'll see Bhagwan's birth, because we are discussing that. Maya Rupam, he says. Means Maya Rupam is not there, but you see it. Anyways, Maya Rupam, that's what he says. But anyway, that's the gist of this verse. Just like you will recognize the rope once the snake is, the snake is recognized as the rope. Same way, you will recognize the world as the substratum itself. Okay? Now, Swayam Brahma, Swayam Vishnuhu, Swayam Indra, Swayam Shivaha, Swayam Vishwamidam Sarvam, Swasmadanyan Kinchana. The self is Brahma, the self is Vishnu, the self is Indra, the self is Shiva, the self is this entire universe. Indeed, nothing exists except the self. Once again, Bhagwan is, hammering that there really is nothing other than the substratum. But due to Maya, due to our ignorance, we project, not already he said, you're projecting the body, mind, intellect. Our own body, mind, intellect is a projection. The world also is a projection. He already said, from Brahmaji to the blade of grass or to the unicellular organism, all the upadhis are false. So he says, what you call Shiva, what you call, even whatever form you see, the form, Krishna as a form, is not true. The form is not true. The essence is what is the truth. That's what he's saying. So if you say this is Vishnu, this is Shiva, there is no difference between them. Okay, and we keep fighting, right? Shiva is more powerful than Vishnu. Who is greater, Krishna or Rama? All these questions they ask Swamiji's. They ask. That's why we know. But as Vedantins, we have to understand the oneness. Okay, that's what he says. Now, the next one. Antaswayam chapi bahi swayam cha swayam purastat swayam eva paschat swayam hyavacham swayam apyudicham tatho parishtat swayam apyadhastat. The self is within, the self is without, the self is in front, the self is behind, the self is to the south, the self is to the north. So too it is above and below. Swayam word is used how many times? That is the self. Swami Vidyaranya gives a very beautiful example to explain this whole verse. Let me tell you, imagine a pot full of water. So there is a pot and it's full, it is full with water. Now that full pot of water, you immerse it in the ocean. Now, what is the pot going to say? Pot is saying, oh, water inside, water outside, water up, water down, water sideways. Everywhere there is water. This is what this verse is. What we have to understand in our case, this body inside consciousness, outside, what I say, okay, consciousness is here, outside there is nothing. That's not true. That's not true. So there is consciousness inside, there's consciousness outside, there is above, below. We are in, we think consciousness is in the body. Now we have to reverse that thinking. The body is in consciousness. That is the thought process that we have to practice. That this, not only my body, but all bodies are in consciousness. Okay. When it comes to karma, they define the greater thinkers, they define karma as a movement in consciousness. That's the definition of karma that they give. Action. See, if I do this, the hand is moved in, just like I say, it moves in space, or I move in space. Actually, everything is happening in consciousness alone. That is how this is to be understood. Okay. Very simple. They're very, very, at least I think, I hope everybody feels that way. Tarangafena brahmabudbudadi sarvam swarupena jalam yatha tatha chideva dehadyhamantametat sarvam chidevaikarasam vishuddham. Just as the wave, the surf, the whirlpool, the bubbles, etc. are all in essence nothing but water, so too the chit is everything from the body, etc. to the ego. Truly, everything is the homogeneous, pure chit only, not chitta, chit, just chit, from such chit ananda. So that pure self, just he's giving an example from the ocean, which we give many times. You see the wave, you see the bubble, you see the foam. What is all of that? It's only water. It's nothing but water. It's water in a different form. It is in the form of a bubble. Water is in the form of a wave. Water is in the form of foam, but it's nothing but water. That way, all that you see is nothing but the supreme consciousness. Okay, he's just hammering this idea into our brain so that we never ever forget it. That's the idea. See, this knowledge should immediately come to us, both in joy and sorrow. What happens is, in sorrow, we remember God, but in joy, we don't. Because, natural. So as a Vedantin, we should know that even joy has come, but this is also going to pass. So no need to get that much excited about it. Okay, sorrow has come. Sorrow will come. Both will come. Nobody can say, oh, I've got only sorrow in my life, or I've got only joy in my life. It can't be possible. Because human birth is 50% of merit and demerit. So it is not possible to have only one thing. We'll have both things. Even this too shall pass. Okay, this is to be understood from here. The next one doesn't have a meter, or if it does, then I don't know about it. So I'm going to go prose on that one. Sat evedam sarvam jagat avagatam vang manasayoho sata sat anyata na asti evam prakriti parasimni stitavataha prathak kim mritsannaya kalasha ghata kumbha adyavagatam vadati esha bhrantah tvam aham iti maya madiraya. Maya word is coming again. The entire universe known through speech and mind is nothing but Brahman. Once again he repeats, there is nothing but Brahman which exists even beyond the pale of Prakriti. Can the pitcher, jug, pot, etc. ever be anything other than the mud of which they are made? As an effect of the wine of Maya, the deluded man talks of you and me, aham and tvam, you and me, I and you, me and mine, you and yours. In Tulsi Ramayana, there is a Rama Gita, where Lakshman asks Sri Ram. Ram is the guru and Lakshman is the disciple. And Lakshman asks, he asks 5 questions. One of the questions is, what is Maya? And there Bhagwan Ram replies, me and mine and you and yours is Maya. That is Maya. This is what he's saying here, that whatever is existing is Brahman. So when I say this is my body and this is me only this much, and then you are very different from me and you are over there, that is Maya. Sama iti Maya. It is not there, but I see it like that. I see the person different from me. It's not there. He's not different from me, but I see it like that. Okay. So, and which exists even beyond the pale of, there is nothing but Brahman. So this is all Prakriti, what you see. What we see is Prakriti. And Prakriti is Maya or Avidya. What we see is Prakriti. So beyond Prakriti is Brahman. And the pitcher jug, this is from Chandogya Upanishad, gives this example that, and we've given this example many times. You see a pitcher, a jug, a vase, or whatever, isn't it all clay or ornaments? We have given that example also, that you see number of ornaments, and are they anything but other than gold? If they're all gold ornaments, is there anything other than gold? Or the previous verse, he gave the example of the ocean, the water and the foam and the bubbles and all that. Okay, so this is again the same. It is Maya, drinking the wine of Maya. Swami Vivekananda has said that the mind is like it's like a monkey. Okay, and then this monkey has drunk a wine, and then this drunk monkey has been stung by a bee, and now that monkey is running, and that is what our mind is. That is what it is like the monkey which is already first drunk, wine drunk, now it's got stung, and now it's jumping all over the place. So this is how the mind plays tricks on us. Okay, you're very careful with the mind. All right. Okay, it's pretty clear now, simple now. That's why I'm going fast. Kriya samabhiharena yatra nanyaditi shrutihi braviti dvaitarahityam mithyadhyasa nivruttaye. Now he quotes Shruti. If you look on the other page, footnote, Chandogya Upanishad he's quoting. So he says, this is not what I am saying. See, Bhagwan Shankara, I told you even in Bhagavad Gita, always Bhagwan Krishna says, the wise people say, they say, it's nothing. He says, this is, I brought it out and it's my philosophy. Same thing Bhagwan is doing here. He says, don't think that all this, what I told you is mine. It is not mine. It is Shruti says that. With many predicates, Shruti declares the absence of duality in the phrase where there is nothing else, etc., in order to remove all false superimpositions. So he quotes Shruti here saying that I am not saying this. That's why I told you that clay example is from Chandogya also. This also is from everything is mithya. Please understand, that it is mithya is that which is seen at one point and then not seen at another point in time. Okay, that is what illusion is. It is an illusion. So it is seen, because that is the main um, argument that Charvaks have. What do you mean this is false? I see you. You're talking to me. I see this. I feel this. I feel if I touch fire, I'm going to feel hot. I'm going to get burned. And you're telling me this is all not real. That's why we say illusion. It'll go away. You'll get burnt. It'll get better, na? Right? So change is there. And because the change is there, we say it is illusory. It is not stable like the truth. That which does not change in the 3 periods of time is truth. If anything in this world you find which has not changed in the 3 periods of time, then it is the self. But think about it. Our own mind, from morning to evening, it changes. Childhood to now, it has changed so much. All right? Okay. Akashavanirmalanirvikalpam nissimani spandana nirvikaram antarbahishunyamananyamadvayam swayam param brahma kimasti bodhyam. Like the sky, the supreme Brahman is untainted, absolute, limitless, motionless, and without modifications. It has neither an inside nor an outside. It is one existence and non-dual and is one's own self. Is there any other thing to be known? Upanishad also says that Atma is the only thing worthy of knowing. There's nothing else in this world which is worthy of knowing. So this is what he's saying. The sky, you see the sky everywhere. Supreme Brahman is untainted. We have heard these words many times. Akashavat, so it is like space. Akasha here is space. Nirmala, no taint. Because why? There is nothing else. If dirt has to come, if on my blouse or on my shirt, if there is something else, if I drop ink, if I drop something, then there is something other and there is a taint. There is nothing else other than Brahman to taint it. Nirvikalpam. There is no thought modification at all. There is no modification in the infinite. In the infinite. If you see any modification in the infinite, it is Maya Rupam. And that's what Bhagavan is going to say in chapter 4. It says, you see me modifying, you saw my birth, you saw baby Krishna, you saw this, you saw this. This is Maya Rupam, because you know what? Infinity cannot modify. And yet you see the modification. That means that modification is Maya Rupam. It is false. Nispan, neither an inside, limitless, like space. Space is limit. That's why space is considered the closest to Brahman. If there was a limit, it would make it finite. Brahman is infinite, so there cannot be a limit. There is a limit, then it is finite. It becomes finite. So limitless. Motionless. Why motionless? Where will it go? To have motion, that's why I told you, have movement, there has to be some space. But if everything is all pervading, and there also we give the example of space. See, we move in space, but can space ever move anywhere? Space, see, if I move my hand like this towards the camera, there is space. That's why my hand could move. But did the space from here move over there near the camera? Did the space move? Hand moved, yes. And the hand moved because there was space. If there was no space between me and this, how can that hand move? Because there is space next to me, I can move my hands. If there's no space, how could I have moved? How could I have moved my hand? But does it mean that space moved? That's why Brahman is motionless. Because where will it move? It is all pervading. This body can move. Why? Because body is here and body is not there. So body can get up and go somewhere where it is not there. But Brahman cannot. That's why motionless. And absolutely no modifications. Changeless, because the substratum is changeless. That's why it is called the truth. If there was any kind of modification, then there is a change. That means the previous state ended to give rise to a new state. What is modification? What is change? this body has modified, right? Previously, it was a short body, and now it has become a tall body, or a young body it was, and now it is middle-aged, and it is old. So the body changes. And because, and that's why it is inert, and it has got a form, and it is changing. But the consciousness within has not changed, cannot change. It has neither an inside nor an outside. Like I told you, the pot full of water immersed in this thing. Where is the inside outside? It is imagined. The inside outside is imagined because of the upadhi of the body. I say inside me there is consciousness, and outside me, because this is and there again, the space example comes, which I've given you many times. I say that this is my kitchen space, and I say that this is my bedroom space, because there is a wall in between. That wall can be torn down at any time, and then can I tell that this space and that space? That's why it is said inside, because the upadhi is imagined. Upadhi is imaginary. That's why this is said. There is no inside nor outside. It is one existence and non-dual. So Advaita once again, and is one's own self. Jiva Brahma Aikya is right there. Okay, so that we don't imagine that there is some existence principle over there which is non-dual, and I'm over here. That's why Bhagavan is saying again, and is one's own self. It is your own self. It is not something other than you. That's a very important point, because this is what, see, consciousness is existence, consciousness, bliss. Okay, Satchit Ananda is there. Now, what happens is, when we give the example of space, we say space is existing. Okay, so when we give more importance to the existence aspect of Satchit Ananda, then objectivity comes in. Means we might imagine that, okay, space is existing, or objects are existing, so consciousness is some object which is existing. Okay, now the consciousness is within us. Outside, in the inert world, there is only existence principle. Consciousness is within us. Now, if we give more importance to consciousness alone, without giving importance to the existence principle, you might think consciousness and existence are different. One might think. We have to understand the pure self, this Brahman, as existence, consciousness, which are one. They're not two different things. So with existence, when we say space is existing, objectivity comes. When we say we are conscious, subjectivity comes. Now there is a subject-object dichotomy. That cannot be there. That cannot be there. The very subtle point. So this consciousness, there is an existing consciousness or a conscious existence. That is how this pure self is to be understood intellectually. So the existence outside is an existing consciousness, because you might think there is existence outside and there's no consciousness, so it's all inert. So it's an inert consciousness then. Inert existence. You have to understand existence also as being conscious, because they are one and the same thing. Existence and consciousness are one. So if you say the world is existing or space is existing, and existence principle is given more importance, then you might think, oh, there is no consciousness out there. And that is wrong. That is wrong. That way it shouldn't be understood. Should be understood as an existing consciousness, and within you should understand it as a conscious existence. So they both are the same. Think about this. Okay, that's why he's saying here non-dual and is one's own self. It's this conscious existence is within, existing consciousness is without. They're one and the same. And where both these merge, there is Ananda, there's bliss. Okay, so is there any other thing to be known? This is again, he's quoting Upanishad. There means he's saying, is there anything other worthy of knowing, anything other than this? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that Atma is the only thing that should be thought about and understood, and that's it. There's nothing else other than Atma, which is worthy of knowing. Okay. Now, वक्तव्यं किमु विद्यतेऽत्र बहुधा ब्रह्मैव जीव स्वयं ब्रह्मैतत् जगदाततं नु सकलं ब्रह्माद्वितीयं श्रुतिः ब्रह्मैवाहमिति प्रबुद्धमतय सन्त्यक्तबाह्या स्फुटं ब्रह्मीभूय वसन्ति सन्ततचिदात् चिदानन्दात्मैतद्ध्रुवम्. What is the use of enlarging upon this subject? You've enlarged enough. The Jiva is nothing but Brahman. Finally, he puts it foot down now. The whole expanse of this universe is nothing but Brahman. Shruti points out Brahman as being non-dual, and it is an undeniable fact that those who are enlightened, who have established their identity with Brahman and who have given up their associations with the outside world, live ever in union with Brahman, eternal knowledge and bliss. Does this even need explanation? I mean, I don't know. He's like, okay, now I explained enough. Now I don't want to tell you anymore. Just understand. We need faith. We need strong faith. This is what Shruti is saying. That's why I told you VivekChudamini also, we should consider it as Shruti only. At our level, VivekChudamini is Shruti. Bhagwan Shankaracharya said it, means he said it. That's it. There is no ifs or buts about it. So that's why he's saying he's expanded enough. So much he has told us. So understand that there is nothing other than Brahman. In the transactional world, please understand also that yes, you have to go about your work and your job. You have to establish your identity. You have to do everything. Now, all this has to be only kept in your own mind. Don't go on saying it outside, but within your mind, you keep track of it. This is what it is. Okay. In the transactional world, you behave as the other people. Whatever is required to do, you do. You show your ID, you show your whatever, passport, if you're crossing the border, if you're everything, transactions should go on. Inside, we should know, okay, fine. This is only the transactional world. It is going to change. Inside, I'm that true self. Okay. Now, this is an advice to the seekers, the next one. Again, there is no meter. Jahi malamaya koshe aham dhiyotha pitasham prasabha manila kalpe lingaha gavehe api paschat nigama gatita kirtim nityam ananda murtim swayam iti parichya brahma rupena tishtha. So this is what he's telling us now as spiritual seekers. Annihilate the hopes raised by the ego in the gross body, a bundle of filth. He's saying it, I am not. Okay. People, he can say that. And Jahi is to kill. Jahi word even Bhagwan has used in Bhagavad Gita. Kill those enemies, the inside enemies, which are Kama and Krodha are your enemies. Kill them. So this is annihilate. Gurudev has used the word annihilate. Jahi actually means to kill. So kill the hopes raised by the ego in the gross. Hopes raised by the ego in the gross body means considering the gross body to be real. Why would I raise my hopes in this body? My body will, become very beautiful one day, very this, because I think it is real. No? So he says, kill those kinds of hopes. A bundle of filth. If you just open the skin, nobody will look at us. If this external skin were to be removed from our body, whoever says we love you the most, they will not look at us even. I don't know. That's why it really, sometimes it like they say, but it's hard to think that I'm not the body. Okay, then you are the filth. I mean, I'm sorry, but what can you say? He has said this before also. Then with force, do the same with the air-like subtle body. Air-like subtle, because you can only feel air, now you don't see it. That's why subtle body, which others cannot see. We can see our own mind, but it is subtle. It is considered subtle. Gross is something that I see and you see. Subtle is something that I see, subtle body. I see, you don't see my mind, or I don't see your mind. So with force, tame the mind. Force for the mind, sometimes force will work, but not all the time. So it is better to make the mind your friend. And then a friend is somebody who listens to us. That's why Amrit Bindu Upanishad says, mind only, even Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, Bhagavan says, mind is your best friend and mind is your worst enemy. When the mind is not listening to you, it is your worst enemy. When the mind is listening to you, it is your friend. So here he's saying, first of all, gross body, that is the bottom line. You should never consider yourself, at least it's better to consider yourself as mind, intellect, than consider yourself as body. Even that is false, but it's better. You know, a little like brick is softer than stone, that way, but never the body, never the gross body. And so with force, like I said, sometimes force, sometimes cajoling, sometimes, you know, that's why they say tame the mind. Gurudev has said tame the mind. Taming is, you know, how do you do taming? You do little by little. Shanai shanai, shanai shanai uparamet, chapter 6. Slowly, slowly you withdraw the mind. So make the mind your friend, so that mind only will say. That's what, see, we are now studying also that ahara in chapter 17, na, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So what you do, if at the gross level, if you make your food sattvic, more and more sattvic, the mind becomes more and more sattvic, because that food is going into the mind. When the mind starts becoming more and more sattvic, it will want to do and eat sattvic things. So this is how they feed off of each other. But outside is easier to handle. So you can decide that, okay, I'm not, at least once a week, decide I'm not going to eat, you know, fasting. That's the idea of fasting, that at least once a week you are eating sattvic food, and then that will expand. Then on the other days also, you will not feel like eating too much garlic, non-veg, you know, alcoholic drinks, soft drinks. All these things are rajasic, so you will not feel like doing that. So this is how you train the mind. That is one aspect, food. Then reading is there. Reading is very good, knowledge, you know. So as the mind gets more and more knowledge that this is not good, this is not real, this is not what I should do, etc., etc., then that mind will become your friend. Once the mind becomes your friend, no problem. You tell the mind this is to be done, the mind only will say this is what needs to be done, let's do it. So that's why this, with the subtle, realizing Brahman, the personification of eternal bliss, personification, which the scriptures eulogize as your own self, live as Brahman. Live as Brahman. Okay, so that way, this live as Brahman will only come when you realize. But we can try. We can try. And when you, one of the gross, manifestations of living like Brahman is that we don't do things which are not correct. You know what I mean? Even ordinary, stop sign, just go, there's nobody there. It's like, no, it's a stop sign. Stop now. Stop at least for half a second, or something you feel like saying something to somebody. This person hurt me, and now, maybe I should say. Then the mind says, what is the point? Let it go. Then there is jivatva and there is ishwaratva. That is the difference between jiva and ishwara. The jiva is the one that is always miserable, wants to retaliate, wants to react, etc., etc. And if we want to be like Ishwara, and that's what this is, like live like Brahman means live like Ishwara, then unaffected. So whatever is happening to the body, if you're getting affected by it, then you're living as a jiva. Because the jiva is always miserable. So no matter what happens to the body, the jiva is miserable. Whatever happens in the mind, if you're getting affected, and intellect. So intellect is somebody says, oh, you're dull. Mind, something's hurtful. So if you are not affected by whatever is happening at the level of the body, at the level of the mind, and at the level of the intellect, then you are living like Ishvara. You're living like Ishvara. That is that live like Brahman. For us, I mean, the realized master is in Brahman only. He's not even living like Brahman. He is Brahman, but we are not. So we need to imitate. So once we know that this is what Ishwaratva is, then maybe we can also function like Ishvara. And not getting affected doesn't mean not doing anything about it. So if the body is sick, you take medication. If the mind is, depressed, go for a walk. But don't say I am depressed. You say, oh, my mind is feeling low today. What should I do what is the antidote to this? Generally, they prescribe a walk, go out for a walk, or then do a lot of work so that the mind is getting away from there. So that is what is meant by invoking Ishwaratva within us. Live like Brahman. Okay. So the next one also, I don't think there is a meter. Shava akaram yavat bhajati manujaha tavat ashuchihi parebhya syat kleshaha janana marana vyadhi nilayaha yat atmanam shuddham kalayati shivakaram achalam tada tebhyo muktaha bhavati hi tad aha shrutihi api. Again, Shruti is being quoted. As long as man worships his corpse-like body. Like how? Bhagwan is saying it. I am not saying it. Okay. So corpse-like means what? It is inert. Understand the body is inert. Tamas. I told you that's coming up now in Deva Puja, right? It's tamasic. So he is impure and suffers from others. He is impure. Body is always impure. So if you think you are the body, then you are impure. Because body can never be purified. Honestly, outside only you can clean it with soap and shampoo, but inside you can never clean it. And there's a doctor in there, right? Like there's no way that only in a colonoscopy probably you're clean and then next day you're back to your original self. Only a temporary thing, right? When they give you all those liquids to clean your intestines up, but maybe that's only for that much time and then next day you're back to normal. So that's why don't even bother to purify that body. It cannot be purified. Means, but keep your stomach clean and all that, but not like that. Okay. Suffers from others because there are others. Now when I think myself to be the gross body, then of course all other bodies are others. They're different from me. All of you are different from me, right? If I think I'm the body, then all of you are different from me. And from birth, death, and disease. Suffers from birth, death, and disease. All these things are, we think birth is very happy. But birth taken means that whole life you have to lead, which is full of sorrows. Death and disease, and gross body means disease will come, something or the other will come. Okay. And when he thinks of himself as the pure, the auspicious, the immovable, certainly he becomes free from them. The Shrutis also testify to this. So I am body should be converted into I am, at least next step is I am Jiva. If suddenly you cannot go to I am Brahman, it's difficult. That's why this Jiva is introduced. In chapter 15, the idea, because you see, people say Jiva is false, then why Bhagwan is saying Mama Eva Ansha Jiva? That question comes there. Then why Bhagwan is saying this, my Ansh is Jiva, and then they're saying Jiva is false. Bhagwan is saying it is my Ansh. Why? As a stepping stone for us. So if you consider yourself that, you are free. Once you consider yourself not to be the body, once you consider yourself, the body being an object, so this object is now suffering. Okay, let me do like a car. Your car, some funny noises are coming or something is happening or whatever. And you say, oh, okay, my car, something is wrong. Let me take you to the shop. That way, this body should be considered as something separate from myself. not me, myself. This is how this body is to be dealt with. And the body is my servant. I need the body, and that's why I will keep it healthy, because without a healthy body, I cannot even enjoy outside, and I cannot do spiritual practices, and I cannot enjoy also outside. If your body is sick, how you will go out and enjoy? So you can't do either one without the body. That is the importance of the body. Body has to be kept healthy, but not because, oh, people will think how young I am. People will think I'm beautiful. Not that. That is not the thought process. So you take care of the body as you take care of your car or your house or whatever happens. So as an object, you're taking care of an object. That way you take care of the body. It is an object. Please understand, it is an object, just like the computer, your range, your microwave, whatever, car. It's an object. So you are the subject, and this is an object, and there's something is going wrong with the object, you treat it. Vedanta doesn't say don't treat. Treat it. Do whatever. Don't think you're that. Because it is shavakaram, just like a corpse. So this is what he's again saying. And we end with this talk. We'll end here. The new topic is starting at the next one. So yad atmanam shuddham kalayati. Yat, when you can start considering yourself as the pure self. Even that's why I said, even not pure self, even jiva. See, jiva entity, remember, first of all, jiva doesn't have a form. Second of all, jiva doesn't have any gender. Third of all, jiva doesn't have any degrees. All this is to the body. Jiva doesn't have a birth date. Jiva doesn't have a death date either. Only if the realized masters, that jiva dies. Otherwise, our jiva is alive only. It goes from one body to the next body. If you don't realize it in this birth, that jiva remains alive. So jiva doesn't have all these things that the body has, cross body. No birth, no modification, nothing it has. No gender, no this thing, right? So at least as a first step, start considering yourself something other than the body. Treat it like an object. With me personally, I look upon it as a car, as my car. Just like that car is so important to me. Why? Because it takes me, I mean, that time when I used to drive to Surrey for classes, like, oh God, I have to go to Surrey to teach a class. I need my car. Like, I cannot live without my car. That way, I need a healthy body as well. And that's the importance of the body. Only that much importance should be given. Everything should be given as much importance as is required, not overdue importance. When you start giving overdue importance to the body, then there is a problem. But a certain amount of importance is required to keep it healthy. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So
it's a great subtle point. I think it's got, like you said, it's got to be not just listened to, it's just got to be assimilated and pondered over. It's not one time or two times. It takes, like you yourself said, it takes several births, I guess.
It does.
Yes.
It does. It does.
Because,
and then,
sorry, yeah.
The fact that Bhagwan is repeating so many times, like, please don't think that he had nothing better to do. So he just thought, oh, write again, write again. It's not like that. A very short life he had. So in that, he has done so much work. So it's not like this thing, but he knows that we forget. We will forget. So that's fine. Okay. All right, then. So I'll see some of you on Sunday and Monday. And next week, we'll have the class again. There is no long weekend. No, nothing. So we'll see you next Friday as well. Om swasti prajabhyav paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha gobrahmanebhyo shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini desho yamkshobarahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः Harihi Om. Hari Om, everybody.